Hi, my name is Nikita Alexandrov. It's an honor to be speaking with you guys today. So I come from a bit of a technology background. I'm a chemist, and I studied mycology under Dr. Kathy Lawrence at Auburn University, one of the few mycologist MBAs in the world. I just want to tell you about what we're excited about in terms of ThinkMyco and this project we have on. ThinkMyco is a bit of a mushroom think tank. We have an excellent group of people that have all come together from different industries to capitalize on this growing area in a very unique way. So we do three things that are all kind of disparate, and tied together by fungi, and we believe we can really innovate in a few very critical growth industries. As you can see, as a scientist, it's very exciting, but as an MBA, there's some very interesting economics here at play. Our mushroom production technology is a bit disruptive. We can significantly lower costs, and we have a hub-and-spoke business model to really spread the economics of mushrooms into the small communities and local businesses, while also servicing so many of those local businesses. We take a healthy profit. This is an incredibly fast-growing area, not only for food and nutraceuticals, but also meat replacement. The largest running report on food security recently came out of Cambridge, about 30 scientists, a multi-year program, and they said by 2050, for humanity to become sustainable, we have to increase crop yield 75%, which is impossible under normal agricultural practices. So this is a very exciting area for us. It's disruptive in a few ways from a technological side and a very unique business model. We also have a very exciting lineup of consumer products that kind of leverage our mushroom supply chain. We're developing nutraceuticals based on medicinal fungi, which have incredible health properties. We're also releasing a line of mushroom jerky, which is a bit of a meat replacement made with the lion's mane mushrooms that has neural enhancement properties. And the last thing we're doing is probably the most relevant to some of the things going on in this conference is neurogenic drug development. So neurogenic drugs are anything related to the into the central nervous system. So that encompasses mental health, neurodegenerative diseases, things like Parkinson's, Alzheimer's. We believe we can innovate in that whole area because we're seeing a lot of advances from these guys studying psychedelics, and what we're learning about the brain is incredible and is informing new therapeutic discovery. So in terms of our grow technology, the upside is very interesting. Barclays predicts this will be a $150 billion industry and $140 billion industry in 10 years. We believe that we have dropped the cost of mushroom production to a level where we're competitive with meat on a gram-for-gram protein basis, and that's incredibly exciting. This company, Sustainable Bioproducts, raised at $150 million. All they did was they found a mushroom strain in a Yellowstone volcano that produced 50% protein and producing a new protein source. So microbial-based food is the food of the future, and we really don't see the economics or the science behind lab-grown meat. It's all going to be fungi or bacterial-based, and we're really excited about working in that area. This is our consumer products line, so releasing the mushroom jerky, which is really, really exciting. It's highly cost competitive, really on-trend area, and we're working with some strategic partners there. And then our fungi-focused retail line is great. We have a lot of really valuable medicinal fungi with some synergetic herbs and other natural compounds where we have a unique IP position. We're working with a world-class team that's kind of on the forefront of developing new biopharmaceuticals. Our go-to-market plan is to launch immediately on online e-commerce platforms, and we have an industry consumer products titan on our team. So we'll launch into retail via acquisition, and pretty shortly we'll be launching our lion's mane jerky and moving into the meat replacement space. We're super excited about that. So Evolve is our neurogenic drug development program. Obviously, this is a huge issue. You really don't have to go far to see the effects of mental health. If anybody here has been to the downtown east side, I mean, it is an epidemic, and the tools we have in this industry just aren't cutting it. And neurogenic drugs encompass everything mental health, plus central nervous system disorders, neurodegeneration. It's really an exciting class of indications to be innovating in. It's also exciting, not just scientifically, but as an MBA. The neurogenics market is absolutely enormous when you factor in even the immediate markets of central nervous system drugs, mental health drugs, which, with a caveat, there is about a $20 billion crossover between those two baskets. You factor in mental health therapy and cognitive enhancement. We're playing in at least a $300 billion market. A lot of people say psychedelic research, these therapeutics, is going to be the next cannabis. People say, we might be the next Canopy, but that's actually quite small-minded. The neurogenics market is already at day zero, significantly larger than the cannabis market, and ripe for disruption. People in this market are just screaming for better solutions. Nobody's happy with mental health treatment, and a lot of the mental health therapeutics are marginally better than placebo. One of the people who are most excited about entering this field is DARPA, the Defense Advanced Research Projects in the U.S. Defense Department. They kind of entered the field a week ago very silently. They kicked off their Focus Pharma program, which is a 4-year program to develop new neurogenic drugs for PTSD and other indications. They kind of validated a lot of our assumptions in our drug delivery program. Their remit is to develop therapeutics based on psychedelics with no psychedelic effect. So that's something we've been looking heavily at. We believe these compounds will be a tool of the future, but we also believe you don't have to be laid up on a trip for 6 hours to get the effects. These things work at sub-perceptible doses, and our team holds IP around Ball 148, which is a non-hallucinogenic LSD derivative, which seems to actually, in some cases, permanently terminate cluster headaches. Our team is also responsible for involved in the commercialization for 18MC, which is a non-hallucinogenic ibogaine derivative, which removes the hallucinations and the long QT cardiac effects of ibogaine. So we're very excited to kind of see our hypothesis validated by DARPA, and their remit is to bring one of these therapeutics to market within 4 years for treatment of PTSD, which we're incredibly excited about, and hopefully we'll be speaking with them shortly. So we're developing new pharmaceuticals based off psychedelics, but we're also learning a lot about fungi in general and how they can spin out new compounds. We're creating a strain bank of genetics valuable fungi, and even with our seed funding and operations in the last quarter, we've made some incredibly valuable contributions. We have a medicinal strain with commercial properties. It's used in industry a lot, Nutraceuticals. We found a strain with insane growth characteristics. The exciting part about that is if we can have a strain produce twice as many medical compounds per unit, then the cost of our nutraceuticals gets cut in half. So this type of work is really exciting to our consumer product line and pharmaceutical development. There's another compound we're looking at which comes from a poisonous mushroom. It's got very targeted cardiotoxic effects. It has a direct action on the heart, which has never been seen before in any fungal metabolite. This is kind of a new characterization. The medical industry hasn't sorted out what's going on there, and we're looking at that for new cardiac drugs, which is an enormous market. One of the other strains we're excited about, we can't speak too much about it, but it was a very exotic fungal strain, only growing in a conflict region in Asia. We traveled there, acquired the strain, spent a lot of energy and time doing that, and we believe it can immediately disrupt a $1 billion fine chemicals industry. So this quote is super interesting. More than a quarter of the Nobel Prizes in physiology or medicine were awarded for work based on fungi in the last 10 years, and that's not considering penicillin or other major advances. The great thing about bioprospecting fungi for medicine and biotechnology is, every year a new company finds something interesting and spins off a massive industry. So, we're developing these compounds based off psychedelics, but we've already developed a second-generation therapeutic based on psilocybin that's been developed, patented, and we're moving that toward market, adding value in animal models. We're looking at the third generation. We're going to take what psychedelics and other compounds taught us about the brain and make compounds that aren't regulated and have much more precision and efficacy than traditional psychedelics. So our next financing will let us carry on our operations at scale. We've already built out a facility in Vancouver. We're already moving consumer product lines forward, doing a lot of R&D, and this will simply help us scale.